Hey everyone, Brayden here coming to you with a breaking Disney news update as Disney has dropped a proverbial animatronic bomb on us, giving us first looks at a good dozen of the next generation audio animatronics we will get to enjoy when Tiana's Bayou adventure opens this summer at Magic Kingdom Park inside of Walt Disney World, replacing Splash Mountain. Getting right into the most exciting preview that we got, Walt Disney Imagineering has launched a new behind-the-scenes video series on YouTube, which we got the first episode of this past week. And it's really reminiscent of when Walt Disney, as you might recall with his Wonderful World of Color TV show back in the day, he would take guests behind the scenes and give us a preview of upcoming attractions. This helped guests form a deeper connection to the end product because they knew a little bit about what went into the end product that they're enjoying, a little bit of how it all came together so that they could appreciate it that much more. All the work that goes into bringing these dreams to life. The video started with Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro filling in for Walt a little bit, I guess you could say, walking through Imagineering and teasing that they have lots on the way as they take us on the design journey of turbocharging the parks for the future. Then they took us into the recreation of Walt's original office, where the man from the Disney archives highlighted that first primitive animatronic birdcage that Walt Disney actually purchased in New Orleans of all places, which served as a piece of inspiration for Disney's ensuing work developing the animatronic technology for use in the theme parks. So then we went from that little guy to the A1000 figures that Imagineering is currently working on at their integration bay, where all the components from the CNC'd metal pieces to the electric motors and actuators to the animatronic shells to the finished costumes, it all comes together to create what we'll soon get to enjoy at Walt Disney World and Disneyland at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So the first new set piece that we got a view of here is for scene 7 of the attraction, and this one is denoted DL, so they're working on the animatronics for Disneyland's version, which is opening after Walt Disney World. So this one suggests that Walt Disney World's animatronics have already gone through the integration bay and are likely already en route or have been partially installed or fully installed on the attraction out at Walt Disney World. So taking a look at this set piece, the show programmers are standing alongside a tree log, which Tiana is leaning on, and you might spot in the background that Louie is actually stuck in the log by the looks of it back there. This setup does appear to be quite similar. It may be an homage to the attraction that Tiana's is replacing, where you might recall that Brer Bear got stuck in a similar situation there during Splash Mountain, leading to a similar silly scene to what we are looking at here, what Imagineering is working on right now. Next, we got a look at another Tiana animatronic that we will see during the attraction, where the senior show programmer at Imagineering explains how he programs the animatronic, and that's before it has its outer skin and clothing. And then Heather, the illusion maker, she comes in with the costume that is made for the animatronic. Briefly shown in this sequence is some reference footage that they used of a real-life actor acting out the movements of Tiana, which are replicated by the animatronic itself that we'll see on the attraction. And this is just like back in the old days with the old Honest Abe that Walt and his team programmed over 50 years ago, where it is mapping to the actual real-life human actor and movements. And obviously, historically and to this day, Disney uses that a lot for their animation in the films and things like that, where they get an idea of how people and animals move by actually acting those out and then translating that to the screen, or in this case, to the state-of-the-art animatronic. So while some stuff has stayed the same over the years at Disney using methods like this, you'll notice the fluidity of this figure is absolutely incredible. And if you think Tiana looks smooth, wait till you see this Louie figure, you guys. This one is nuts. So next up, the principal illusion maker at Imagineering explains how for this massive 7-foot tall Louie figure, it's not just the neck or the eyes or the mouth or the hands that need to move. There's all these different segments to his abdomen and everything from the cables to the motors to the animatronic shell pieces. It all has to be cycled cycling properly in unison, in concert, before they can move on to putting on that final costume, and then that needs work, and then you have to make sure that's all functioning properly before you can ship it out to the attraction. And to that end, the figure programmer demonstrated testing an individual motor on the animatronic Louie to make sure that his head was rotating properly. So that's just one motor, so when he's fully moving, you can imagine how many are moving around there, and actuators as well. It is pretty crazy stuff. This yet to be skinned Louie is going to be the one that we see at the beginning of the attraction when we enter the Bayou. It's the first Louie that we will see, and that's when the New Orleans party is getting started. Finally, we get to see another show programmer working on another Louie, which we will see later in the attraction. That one's placed later in the ride, and he's playing alongside Ralphie and a beaver, one of the critters that we'll see during this attraction. And this is the biggest bit of alpha that we got in this video. There's actually a shot where in the background you can see the list, the full list of the 17 animatronics that are coming to Disneyland's version of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And keep in mind, the Walt Disney World version of the attraction is shorter, so its list is likely a little shorter than this one. Here we can see that Louie and Ralphie, that setup that we're looking at right now, that is part of Scene 11, which will also feature Tiana, Prince Naveen, Eudora, and Charlotte, all in that one scene. So that looks like it's going to be the big party scene. A quick side note here, while not in the Imagineering episode itself, there was a short form video that Disney posted on social media this week where we got a look at Eudora and Charlotte. So there's your first look at those animatronics as well. Absolutely unreal. And we even got, in one of the pieces Disney put out, a very small glimpse of Tiana in her dress for that Scene 11. So as I said, that looks like it's going to be the big party finale scene during the attraction. Going back to the work the programmer is doing here on these figures we're going to see during this scene, we can see that she's working in the computer software Maya, where she is sending out the values to the motors and the actuators, everything you have going on with these animatronics, and those movements are visualized over time on this graph with those curves that you see, which looks rather simple and easy to manipulate when she has just a single motor or actuator highlighted. But when she puts all the movements programmed to happen simultaneously on the graph all at once, these are all movements happening at once. You can really get an appreciation for just how complex these A1000 animatronics are and just how much time and effort goes into getting them just to move, let alone seem lifelike, and for all those different motors to work together to make it all just seem like a dance. It's pretty incredible stuff. Some amazing work by Imagineering. Adding in some of my own info for you guys. Right now, as you probably know, the Country Bears over at Walt Disney World are down for their big update, which is a show update where when it comes back online this summer, they're going to be singing Disney intellectual property songs, but that's not all that is going on with this update. The bane of Walt Disney World President Jeff Volley and Walt Disney World Maintenance's existences over the past many, many years has been all these old animatronics that you have at Walt Disney World with the hydraulic actuators that make them work, that make them move. You oftentimes need to keep cycling them even at night when there's no guests around because hydraulics do not like freezing up. In this new Imagineering video, the Imagineers highlight how in the past they have used hydraulics and pneumatics to get the animatronics to seem lifelike, but what they're doing now with these new animatronics is they are using fully electric motors, and this is making them seem more fluid and much more lifelike than those older animatronics. And it's not just because they're fully electric motors, it's also because those motors can be much smaller. So now that you have much smaller motors and you can have more throughout the animatronic, you have more axes of control and there's more places you can put actuators and all of this. And in addition to that, the tolerances are lower. What all that means is that they can intentionally program very minute movements into these animatronics like humans have in real life. And these upgraded components, this new technology, is what I believe is being implemented at the Country Bears attraction as well right now as we speak, where the hydraulic actuated animatronics that you have in the Country Bear Jamboree, they are being replaced, where servo motors are being put on the bear skeletons, and those servo motors, they have a lower cost to maintain, they have a lower cost to replace, and I believe believe that that is the real reason why we ended up seeing the country bears get some love at the Magic Kingdom and not get destroyed completely. They basically solved the problem. Imagineering solved the problem where you can keep the bears, you can update the bears, and you can mitigate future maintenance costs without getting rid of them. So the video then concludes with Bruce Vaughn saying he is the leader at Imagineering now. We have a creative in charge of Imagineering now, and there's more to come. And from what I've been hearing, you guys, oh boy, is there a lot more to come. And it's not just going to all be stuff that's going to make it to this D23 stuff in August. There's going to be stuff that we're going to hear before then. There's going to be permits. There's going to be stuff with Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. I think the permits that are coming for that are going to be land clearing permits and some stuff for offices, for trailers, because there's about 500 people that are going to need office space back there. It is a huge, huge project. And I'm going to get more into Beyond Big Thunder in our next video, where I'll let you know what I've been hearing insofar as the latest plans of what that's actually going to entail. And frankly, that Beyond Big Thunder Mountain project should probably be called Around Big Thunder Mountain, because Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer, from what I'm hearing, they might be in trouble, you guys. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that, coming very, very soon. We are by no means done with this video, you guys, though, so stay right here. So as far as my thoughts on Tiana's Bayou Adventure and all of these beautiful animatronics we got a first look at this past week, I'm getting a bit more excited for this attraction because of these. They are very, very impressive. And also because I've been hearing from sources, something totally unrelated. I was worried that this is going to be very projection heavy. It sounds like this attraction, there are going to be projections, but a lot of that is going to be on physical set pieces. For example, that log in that one scene that we saw in the video, it wasn't painted at all. Maybe they just hadn't gotten around to it yet, but perhaps they are going to do some sort of projection on that. We've already seen a brief preview inside of Splash Mountain where you can see projection on one of the trees. It seems like that's how Disney's using projection. And also Disney's not using projections on the animatronic faces. The animatronics have real faces here, which definitely deserves to be celebrated instead of the projection faces like we've seen in years past at Walt Disney World. And I will say this right now, you know, these animatronics, a lot of people are saying these are the greatest animatronics that have ever been made. These are actually in line with what we've seen added to the international parks in recent years. But when it comes to Walt Disney World, when it comes to the Magic Kingdom, these are going to be, on day one, the best animatronics that we have ever had in that park. And if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know what I was not happy about with Cosmic Rewind was originally it was supposed to have animatronics and Chapek cut them all out. What have we really gotten stifled on at Walt Disney World in the past decade? Animatronics. Rise of the Resistance did have animatronics. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway had some more primitive animatronics. There's really not a whole lot else to remark on in terms of new animatronics at Walt Disney World over the past 10 years. And personally, I think having those 3D moving figures, having things moving on these attractions is so much of what compels you to go see and enjoy something at the parks versus just staying at home and watching something on a screen. So I am very, very excited to see the attention that is going into the animatronics here and the quality that we are seeing here. As far as criticism goes on what we're seeing here, some have said that these figures look very creepy. I don't personally think that. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think they're a pretty good balance where they tried to make them look like the 2D figures from the film, but they're in 3D space. I think Imagineering struck a pretty good balance here. My criticism for years and years at Tiana has been and continues to be that this project is not that well funded. And by the way, they're over budget on it right now, so that's actually good news. The project has historically been underfunded, and Disney tore out 100 animatronics from Disneyland Splash and 65 from Walt Disney World. And a big component of why they wanted to update these was to get rid of those hydraulically actuated animatronics and save on maintenance costs. And as we saw with the animatronics list in the background of this video, Disneyland has 17 listed at WDI headquarters right now, and I'm guessing that Walt Disney World's the list is slightly shorter than that. I'm guessing at Walt Disney World, the list is somewhere more around 12 or somewhere around there, 12 of these highly complex animatronics. There's also all the critters that you're going to have throughout the ride that join us in the musical celebration. Each of those is going to be an animatronic. But if you notice in this list, one of those critters is on here. I'm a little confused on that, what exactly is going on there. If those critters are full-fledged, you know, A1000 cool cool animatronics, they'd be on that list at Imagineering. So these are definitely going to be lower grade animatronics, or maybe they're just model figures. So the jury's still out on what the deal is with the critters, we'll see. But even if you assume that all of those critters are full-fledged, very advanced, highly advanced, really cool animatronics, and you take the 17 animatronics that are on the list, the characters and the beaver, and you add those in, we're looking at somewhere around 30 animatronics, even if all those critters are animatronics as well, which is still half as many as we had before on Splash Mountain. And what's interesting about this is, as we saw today, these animatronics are 10 times better than any single animatronic that we had on Splash Mountain, right? So knowing that we are going to have substantially fewer animatronics on this ride when the new attraction opens, the question is it better to have fewer really good animatronics spread throughout this decently length boat ride, or would it have been better to do less A1000 figures and do just more things moving, even just slightly? That is what we are going to find out when Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens at Walt Disney World this summer. As I told you guys years and years ago, they are ripping out all the old animatronics. There's going to be way fewer animatronics when this ride comes back online. Disney's pivot is going to be to the quality of the animatronics, and that's their right. I mean, look at these. They are really, really high quality, the ones that are going on this ride. So taking a look at these incredible animatronics, taking a look at everything that we have seen and everything that we know, there's some good signs here for sure. There's also some less impressive aspects to what we've been seeing with Tiana here. At the end of the day, I think it'll all come down to, is this ride a vibe, as the kids would say? Does it have enough stuff moving? Does it have enough kinetic energy? And does it tell a compelling story and make you want to ride it again, for kids, for adults, and everyone in between? Well, during the Imagineering video that we just got, I want to point out that they repeatedly emphasized that it's not about the tech, it's not about the CNC'd metal parts or the new electric motors in the animatronics. It is about the story. That is the make or break. So it seems that Imagineering is aware of the bar they need to hit, the star that they're shooting for, and now it all comes down to the delivery. And this preview of the animatronics definitely offers some hope there. So needless to say, there's a lot going on here, and it has been a great week for parks fans who have been holding out hope for some good news for years and years. It's finally here, and there's more coming, you guys. There's a lot more on the way, and soon, and I'll be right here to break some of it to you guys exclusively right here. So be sure that you are subscribed with your notifications on, and stand by for some more content. Thank you so much for watching. For the Mickey V's Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.